the LA wildfires, specifically in the Palisades and over on the east side in Altadena. The Eaton Fire continue to rage, not fully contained. Firefighters, including prisoners, are out there battling these fires. And the real theme, Trey, has been it can't be climate change. That's been
Right.
the theme more nationally. It must be DEI, given that there is a female mayor who is Black, as well as a female fire chief who is a lesbian. Must
Mhm.
be DEI. It must be some kind of water management from a rare fish species that Gavin Newsom tried to protect and somehow diverted water from LA in order to protect
Yeah.
fish. It must be uh, literally anything, but specifically, it's gotta be arsonists. This is
Mhm.
what it's gotta be. Now, before we get into all the theories of what the right is saying, Marjorie Green, for example, is saying that, why don't they use their weather machine?
We have that weather. We do have that weather machine, just collecting dust and storage down there in out in Nevada, I think is where we parked it.
Yes,
A
we
lot of
did.
open space out there. Yeah, you'd think they would call that in, just gin up one of just a small hurricane with some water. I guess it might be a typhoon in the Pacific. Either way, do something and
We
you know
need a
snap
high-speed
down them
rail to actually
streams.
send that over back to us, which is another conspiracy theory that Newsom is clearing the area for
Mhm.
high-speed rails. This is
Okay.
like, people are truly circulating these memes.
Well, a high-speed rail would be awesome, so I know that that's never happening. Now, I wouldn't want people's homes, burned down for it because 'cause I'm
Yeah,
not a
except for James
lunatic.
Woods. Like, if James Woods' home, which actually didn't burn down, but if you had to take out James Woods' home to build a high-speed rail, I say do it.
Yeah, it's a sacrifice I'd be willing to make as well, but, yeah, it's been silly. Like you said, the arson thing. The thing that was driving me crazy about that the whole time, because we had the news on in the house for days straight last week,
Mhm.
nothing but the news, and for a while they were reporting on the news that one of the fires had been started by a person, right, who had been arrested by his neighbors or whatever, citizens arrest. And so people were talking about arson. Can you believe this? But the whole time I was like, okay, but even if any of them were started by arsonists or whatever, it doesn't matter because it wouldn't have worked if it had not been for the hurricane force winds that were whipping around in what's supposed to be the rainy season. Like the fact that it did as much damage as it did, it's still because of climate reasons. Like it's still
Right.
because of the extreme weather conditions, even if a person
Even
started,
if it
which
was a
they
trans
didn't.
person who didn't put out their cigarette. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like,
Yeah,
it
right.
doesn't
Which that's
you're
not what happened, but even if it was, it still is a climate change thing, even in
yes.
that scenario. So I've just never understood the whole
No,
it's
no,
just
I think that's a
Democrat run
really
cities.
well, gee, I wonder why, right? It's because we cannot wrap our minds around the fact that we're having periods down here in Southern California. We'll just explain how it's all working. Extreme rain. So, like a year ago, we had tons of rain. The ground can't absorb it all. And then we have periods of extreme drought, no rain in 9 months. But that other rain made the brush go real, real high, but then it all
Mhm,
dried out. And
mhm,
so, when the 100-mile-per-hour winds that happen every single year, but this year was especially intense. When they come through, you know what is the first thing that gets knocked down? Is fucking power lines.
mhm.
That's what's doing it. It's down. It's the story of all of California. Guess what? Culprit was wind and power lines. It's very easy to down a power line with 100 force hurricane gale force winds.
Mhm.
So that's the culprit. But of course, we can't like compute. Nobody likes the conspiracy that is right in front of your face. We want to be like, nah, I want the one that takes me a while to figure out. I want the one that impugns a homeless person or a mentally ill person. But so this is Hayes Davenport, who has a great Substack about Los Angeles, was sort of collecting specifically celebrities that were like, no, it's an arsonist. Chris Brown official. Someone starting these fires. Shit don't add up. eyeballs. Henry Winkler, of all people, the Fonz. There is an arsonist here in LA. May you be beaten unrecognizable. The pain you have caused. 7 views. Then, this is my favorite trade. This is insane. Fuckers are finding pages of books because people's homes are burning down and books are burning. And they're saying that the book pages that are falling on their lawns are an arsonist calling card.
Like he's the Joker or something, like a Batman.
Yes. My friend is saying it's an arsonist calling card. That's interesting. Someone else found the table of contents page in a park. How does that add up? Someone found another page of the same book. Gee, I wonder, maybe we live in the same fucking neighborhood and there's crazy winds blowing around people's possessions.
Yeah, and books be burning and stuff when there's fire. That's what I always heard. Yeah, I don't know. Again, you'll always have like there will be it's just like the looting too, which is, you know, separate from the arson thing, but like they want to make a big deal out of that also because it's like, you know, Democrat ran cities in blue states are crime ridden hellholes. So obviously looting is run rampant. But I'd read earlier that since the fire started, they had charged 9 people with looting, 9 people in a city of millions. You know, it's like I guarantee you they've charged more people with DUI in that same time frame, probably. But nobody's talking about like a rampage of drunk driving caused by any of these, you know, Democratic shortcomings or whatever. But there will always be people doing stuff they shouldn't do, and they're probably, you know, there's always going to be crazy people. There's always going to be people doing bad things, including, you know, whatever, even if they're walking around with blow torches and that type of thing, but it doesn't have anything to do with the larger problems that were at hand here
Well,
last week.
100%. I mean, even the funding that was, you know, denied to, you know, the LAFD would not have been enough to stop these because you couldn't even put planes in the air. I just want to say there was no arsonist. None have been found.
No,
there was this fire, the Kenneth fire, which tomorrow I might subject everyone to some Whitney Cummings videos. But the Kenneth fire, where comedian Whitney Cummings was like, I'm going to go find this person. This guy apparently was detained by residents, as I think Trey alluded to, just straight vigilantism, detained by residents saying he was like lighting a fire. They held him, they questioned him, and they let him go because they couldn't find anything that said that he was actually linked to starting the wildfires. So he's gone. That was, sorry, let's read a little bit of this. Officials said, but the allegation the man started the fire has been determined to be unfounded, officials said. Now, here's what I think everyone needs to understand. How can a fire that is in one place, like one mountaintop, how can it break out into the other mountaintop over there? It must be an arsonist. No. Here's what happens. So, little piece of big fire gets into the air, whipped by the 60 to 100 miles an hour wind over to other forest and over to other hill. It's just embers, you fucking idiots. Like, that's what these do.
Well,
I was outside that morning. Sorry, real quick. I was outside that morning on Tuesday. This is a week ago exactly. And I went outside and I was like, oh shit, I don't know if I can take my daughter to daycare. I usually walk her there, but the wind was like so strong. I was like, I was afraid it was going to blow me over. Then I go out like 10 minutes later and it was fine. And I was like, oh, okay. All right.
Or they got even wilder where we're at that night. But that's what a lot of these people that live in LA, celebrities that are in LA spreading this stuff, whatever. It's like, have you been in LA? Were you in LA while it was happening? Because like, if you were, you could feel the wind. I just can't get past the wind part. Like it's not surprising or hard to understand. Like it makes sense what happened, especially if you were here. I can't imagine being here and personally experiencing those winds, which were insane. I've lived here for 8 years and I haven't felt winds like that, and not that consistently either. And personally experiencing that and still just being like, something ain't adding up. This don't seem right, that these fires are spreading. It's like, it does add up. It all adds completely, totally up. Like, that's what I mean, man. I was bitching earlier up top about people just like everything's got to be a conspiracy now. because I don't know, because it makes people feel smart or what, I don't know, but
Yeah.
it's just, it drives me crazy.
What's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/bitchuation room. Do it.